All right, Nick, let's talk about the Texas Longhorns. No recruit commitments today, but we do have a very interesting story. Training camp is underway. We are seeing the guys out on the field. People are starting to impress and getting some impressions, notably on coaches and teammates alike. And there's one guy in particular who has really been shining at Longhorns camp, and we're going to get into that story today.
Yeah, Miles, this is a really great report that you dug up, highlighting a young Texas Longhorn making a name for himself already. But before we get into that, Texas fans, we're talking about training camp, which means regular season not too far away. That's why in the comment section below, I want you guys to give us the one game you're looking forward to this fall more than any other game. You only can pick one now. So give us the one matchup you're looking forward to more than any other for Texas this fall. And make sure you put it in the comment section below. But all right, Miles, what you got? What's the latest out of Longhorns camp?
Yeah, Nick, we all know how the baby Gronk phase had swept the nation. Everybody was talking about it. It was a national phenomenon. But, Nick, once this guy hits the field in Austin this year, I think baby Bosa is going to be a bigger phenom than baby Gronk ever could have dreamed to be, because this guy has got some actual talent. We're talking about none other than Colton Vasek, who's been getting rave reviews at Texas training camp. And let's get into the article right now and we can discuss the particulars afterwards. Nick, this is from over on Longhorns Country. It says Texas Longhorns senior offensive tackle Kristen Jones has seen a thing or two during his time in Austin, facing some of the best pass rushers the Big 12 has to offer. So when Jones speaks on the talents of a young player, it'd be wise to take his opinion to heart. And recently, during his meeting with the media, Jones opened up about some of the Longhorns' young defensive playmakers. Most notably, Westlake, Austin, Texas alum Colton Vasek is drawing rave reviews in his first fall camp with the Horns. But how impressive has Vasek been? So impressive that he apparently has earned the nickname Baby Bosa from his teammates. Baby Bosa Vasek, Jones said when describing Vasek as one of the team's most challenging players to block. Body type, you can just see how in the future the weight program could definitely beef him up, Jones said of Vasek via On3. He's already has a frame for it, so he's just going to keep working, Nick. So this guy, physical and specimen, he's going up against one of Texas's best offensive tackles in Christian Jones, a veteran, a guy who's been around the Big 12. He's seen the elite level pass rushers that are coming out of there, and he is saying that this guy is one of the best he has seen, comparing him to one of the best pass rushers in the NFL. Doesn't matter whether it's Joey Bosa or Nick Bosa, they're both incredibly good. I think they have got over 103 sacks combined in both of their careers so far early on. Is this just a phenomenal comparison for a guy like Vasek, a great compliment already out of a freshman guy who I think is going to make a big impact. But Nick, what do you think about the report, and what do you think this means for the Longhorns going forward?
So there's 2 points I want to highlight. And I'm going to assume for a second that the Texas Longhorns run their fall practice, their training camp, much like I did. I played D1 AA college football, as you're very well aware of. And at this point in training camp, it was straight first string versus first string, ones versus ones, twos versus twos. As you get later into fall camp and as you get into game plan, that kind of switches up a little bit. You'll have some scout team interaction and some ones on twos, some twos on ones, things like that. But at this point in training camp, you're going to have the first string against the first string. The fact that this freshman is getting reps against a starting tackle in Jones, to me, means that even before he went up and started doing well in these pass rush situations, he was impressing his fellow coaches and his fellow players and his coaches, excuse me. You don't get a freshman to get those kind of reps unless he's already off to a strong start. That, number one, that really jumped out at me, because normally you'll see a guy like Vasek go up against, sometimes some third teamers, some other freshmen, maybe second string at this point in camp. It is extremely rare to have a freshman get off to such a strong start to get reps against a veteran starter, the first string guy at this point in training camp. That's a great sign for how good Vasek is. But if you focus on what it means for Texas long term, we know Texas is trying to get back to being a national power. We know they're moving to the SEC. It means they're going to be competing in the SEC against the top flight programs to go back to the college football playoff. Here's what you have to do that. You have to be great at rushing the quarterback. It's one of those few things where if you're not good there, you have no chance. Alabama They were great at rushing the quarterback. They flood the NFL with defensive linemen. You talk about this guy being Baby Bosa. How about Ohio State always going to the college football playoff? They have the Bosas. They have Chase Young, always full of defensive line talent, guys who can rush the quarterback. How about two-time national championship the past 2 years, Georgia? Literally, their entire first two strings of their defensive line is playing in the NFL right now. You have to have guys that can get after the quarterback. When Clemson was winning national titles going to the college football playoff, same thing. They had guys that could get after the quarterback. That's what you need, among other things. But to me, on the defensive side of the ball, that's what you need more than anything else, because that is the answer to elite level quarterbacking, what you see at Alabama, what you see at Ohio State, when you see these top flight programs. That elite level quarterback, if he's running for his life, if he's on the ground because he's getting sacked and hit, he's much less effective, obviously. So the way you can counteract those guys is have elite level pass rushers. And Vasek, to me, can be one of those guys, one of the first, and hopefully a long run of top flight pass rushers to come to Austin and be that kind of playmaker for Texas as they look to make that transition from the Big 12 to the SEC, while also making that transition between winning 8, 9, 10 games and going back to winning 11, 12, 13 games.
Yeah, Nick. And this guy, just to go over some of his particulars a little bit, he is actually a phenomenal player. He's been very productive all throughout high school, even getting the defensive MVP of his team state championship win. He had 3 sacks in that game. Their team as a whole, 19 sacks in the state championship game. Absolutely incredible. But this guy, you hear Jones talk about his frame, 6'5", 230 pounds. I wouldn't be surprised getting out of Texas if he's like 250, 270, somewhere in that range. This guy has the frame to put on a lot of size because he's extremely thin right now, extremely lean. Get him under that Texas strength and conditioning program. We're going to see a monster being made. I'm sure he's going to be decent this year, but like you said, these guys need time to develop. Give him a year, give him 2 years, and this guy is going to be a monster, and we're going to be calling people Baby Vasek in the future.